Hello family, welcome back to the channel. We're continuing part 2 of the story that had everyone talking, Elena, Beneath the Silk. If you thought part 1 was powerful, just wait. In this chapter, we uncover secrets, serve poetic payback, and watch Amara rise even higher as Elena. And if you haven't already, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Previously in Elena's story, Amara Bennett, daughter of billionaire Edward Bennett, walked away from her privileged life to live simply and fell in love with a man who only loved what he could control. Jason Okafor met her on a rainy Lagos night, believing she was just a regular woman. Amara never corrected him. He fell in love with the illusion, proposed, and built a dream on her hidden power. Silently, Amara used her name to make a single phone call that landed Jason a $1 million deal with her father's company, Bennett Group. But Jason's ego grew louder than his gratitude. He drifted toward vanity and another woman, Vanessa, who lied to the world claiming she was Elena, the genius designer behind Nigeria's most iconic fashion brand. In one unforgettable scene, Amara revealed the truth at a fashion gala while wearing her own design. Gasps followed. Jason's world collapsed. Vanessa was unmasked as not a fashion mogul, but Mr. Bennett's assistant. And yes, Jason lost his mind. Oh, and David Lawson, her contract husband? Somewhere between silence and support, he fell in love with Amara. When she revealed her real identity to him one quiet night on Banana Island, he didn't blink. He just whispered, "I already knew." As for David's cold, judgmental mother, when the truth came out, her jaw dropped, literally. And Amara, with a perfect smile, handed her a purebred poodle and said, "Here, you said you wanted a pedigree." And that's where we left off. Now, let's dive into part 2 of Elena Beneath the Silk. The world now knew who Elena really was. Headlines screamed, "Billionaire heiress behind fashion empire," and blogs couldn't stop talking about how Amara had fooled the industry without even trying. Jason, meanwhile, was unraveling. Alone in his penthouse, he watched his phone screen as investors pulled out of deals one after another. Bennett Group released a savage one-liner, "We do not do business with liars." Jason went from the golden boy to a cautionary tale overnight. Meanwhile, Vanessa was dealing with her own public collapse. Her photos were taken down from magazines. Her luxury sponsorships disappeared. And when Jason finally confronted her with trembling hands, she dropped the final bomb. "I never loved you. I only stayed because I knew she'd come back stronger," and she did. Back at Lawson Manor, Amara and David sat under the stars on his private balcony. "So," she began gently, "you knew I was a Bennett all along?" David smiled, swirling his glass of wine. "Let's just say I connected the dots when the same woman who ironed her husband's shirts also negotiated a textile deal with Stonebridge in 3 languages." Amara laughed the first time in weeks. The war was over, or so she thought. Amara thought she'd feel peace after reclaiming her name. But power has its own price. The industry now wanted interviews, collaborations, documentaries. And while her face was now known, many didn't know how deep her journey went. "I don't want to be famous," she confessed to David. "I just wanted to be seen." David looked at her, quietly understanding. He took her hand and whispered, "Then let them see the whole you, not just the name." Meanwhile, Jason spiraled further. Bennett Group filed a legal notice accusing him and Vanessa of defamation and fraud. He tried to call Amara. No response. Tried to reach her through David. Blocked. One night, drunk and defeated, he sent an anonymous tip to a gossip blog. Elena was once married to a nobody. It backfired. People praised her even more for building her empire without flaunting her name. Then came the day Amara walked into a boardroom filled with executives from New York, London, and Paris. All men, all skeptical, and she, clad in a flowing gold-detailed Ankara gown, simply opened her sketchbook, placed it on the table, and said, "This is not fashion. This is culture elevated." By the time she finished her presentation, the room was silent. Then came the standing ovation. Weeks passed, and just when Amara thought the chaos had calmed, her legal team discovered something chilling. Vanessa had signed a non-disclosure agreement a year ago, binding her silence to any designs or dealings with Bennett Group. The kicker? She had signed it with her real name, Vanessa George Edelike. That name appeared in a confidential lawsuit against a European fashion house for stealing designs. This wasn't her first scam. Amara didn't want to press charges, but her father, Edward Bennett, had other plans. "This is not about her," he said during a rare breakfast together. "It's about legacy. I won't let anyone rewrite yours." Within 48 hours, Vanessa was summoned to a private arbitration panel. Cameras weren't allowed, but the leaks were brutal. Vanessa's fall was now complete and public. Meanwhile, David's mother, who once sneered at Amara's lack of pedigree, was now inviting her to high teas and society galas. Amara smiled politely, declining most of them, but during one she handed the woman a small velvet box. Inside it, a photo of David and Amara laughing on a boat in Santorini. On the back, a handwritten note. "Sometimes class isn't inherited, it's earned." The Lawson Group hosted a private charity auction, showcasing custom Elena pieces. Guests flew in from Morocco, Paris, and the UAE. Amara designed a centerpiece gown called the Truth Walker, a black and crimson silk piece inspired by survival and sovereignty. The bidding started at $100,000. Just before it ended, a shadowy bidder placed a final bid of $1.2 million. When the auctioneer asked for the name, a staff member delivered the note from the man who never truly saw her. It was Jason. David's jaw tightened. Amara's face was unreadable. She stepped forward, took the mic and said, "I appreciate the gesture, but this isn't a purchase. It's a prayer, and it cannot be bought back." The audience erupted in applause. Jason, seated in the back, stood and left without a word. But the cameras followed, and the headlines the next morning were ruthless. Jason tries to buy redemption. Fails. Later that night, David asked her, "Would you have taken him back if he had come sooner?" Amara didn't hesitate. "No," she said. "You water dead flowers long enough, you stop noticing they stink." One rainy evening, David received a mysterious envelope, no return address, just a key. Amara found him staring at it in their kitchen. "You ever hide a part of yourself from someone you love?" he asked. She froze. "Yes," she whispered, "but I've already told you who I am." David drove to the address the next morning. It was a penthouse in Echo Atlantic. Inside, untouched furniture, fresh flowers, and framed photos of him and Amara. They were taken by a private photographer. The place was set up like a memory museum. It was Jason's, and in the center of the room, a sketch of Amara in a wedding dress, beside a burned photo of Vanessa. The discovery rattled David, but he didn't tell Amara yet. Instead, he doubled down on loving her. That night, he cooked jollof rice and peppered fish. Amara smiled, but something in his eyes made her pause. "Is there something you're not telling me?" she asked softly. David swallowed. "Yes, but not tonight." Edward Bennett, now aging and rarely seen in public, called Amara to his private estate. "I've rewritten my will," he said, handing her the sealed document. "Not because you're my daughter, but because you earned the empire." Amara's hands trembled. Inside the sealed envelope was a clause. If Amara chooses, she can dissolve the Bennett board and rebuild it under her brand. Entirely. "What about Jason?" she asked. Her father smirked. "He called me after the gala, begged. I told him power has a memory, and it remembers who fed it lies." Amara left the estate with the power to control 3 companies and a legacy once denied to her. But she didn't act, yet. She had a better plan. "I'll build something bigger," she told David, "but from my name, not my father's." Jason showed up uninvited at an Elena pop-up event in London. Wearing a crisp suit and hollow eyes, he pulled Amara aside. "You never gave me the chance to say I'm sorry." She faced him, calm and unshaken. "You were never sorry," she replied. "You were exposed." Jason dropped to his knees. "I lost everything." Amara stepped back. "You lost what was borrowed. I never belonged to you." Before security could move him, David arrived, quiet, unbothered. "Let him speak," he said. Amara nodded. Jason stood, looked David in the eyes and whispered, "She was never just a woman. She was the world, and I wore sunglasses." David only replied with a nod. Thank you for finally seeing her. Months passed. Amara's new label, House of Elena, went global. She hosted design residencies for underprivileged girls across Africa. But one night on a quiet hilltop in Kigali, David knelt down not with a ring, but with a sealed envelope. She opened it. Inside, her mother's old wedding band, and a legal document dissolving their contract marriage. "I don't want you as a partner by contract," he said. "I want you as my forever. No deals, no signatures. Just your yes." Tears filled Amara's eyes. "You already had it, but now you've got all of me." Just as the world began to forget her, Vanessa resurfaced. Not in Lagos, but in Dubai. Rumors swirled of a new identity. She called herself Sadid Bey now, and was launching a fashion line eerily similar to Elena's early sketches. Amara flew in silently, attended her launch, and left a gift backstage. A black envelope with her logo and a single sentence. "Creativity can be copied, but soul, never." The media compared the two, but in the end, the world knew the difference. And so did Vanessa. She canceled the launch 2 days later. In a final moment that mirrored the beginning, Amara stood under the Lagos rain, this time not alone. David beside her, umbrella in his hand. The billboard above them flashed. Elena X, Paris, Fashion Week. A reporter asked, "What would you tell the girl who once stood in the rain with a torn handbag?" Amara smiled. "I'd tell her, your silence is not weakness. It's just thunder waiting its turn." She kissed David's hand, looked up at the sky and whispered, "This time let it pour."